So looking at this problem right here, we have some sort of theater, and it says we have 15 seats and then 18 seats and then 21 seats. So we have 15 plus 18 plus 21, and then of course like 24 and 27 and so on. And we're supposed to have 870 seats in total. The question is, how many rows do we need all together? So far we have 1, 2, 3 rows. Let's see where we have to stop, and whatever row that is, that's how many rows this theater is gonna have. This is arithmetic, and it is a series. So we know that we need to unlock this formula here. Now, we don't know the last number, but it has to end at some point, and we'll call that number a sub n. And the goal is to solve not necessarily for a sub n, but the goal is to solve for n, because a sub n is the last row. N is the row that this represents. So let's see. We know that the sum goes in for the sum. So that's going to be 870. N is the goal. We don't know, so it stays that. We know what the first term is, 15 plus. Now here it's supposed to say a sub n, but I don't know what the a sub n is. I don't know the last row, but I do remember that we have our sequence. Remember, anytime you're playing with a series and you run into trouble, go to a sequence perhaps for help. Let's try to fill this out here. So we know what the first term is, 15. We know what the common difference is. We're getting bigger by 3 every time. So our sequence would say this right here. And the first term is 15. The common difference is 3. Why don't we actually clean this up a little bit here? So 15 plus 3n minus 3, and then 15 minus 3. So we have 3n plus 12. What does this represent? This represents an, right? This little bubble, 3n plus 12, that represents an. But there's an an right here. So by substitution, an, which is this, will get replaced by the contents within this bubble, 3n plus 12. And the reason this is good is because now we have an equation, and the variable is n, and the goal is to solve for n. I see a fraction. I don't like the denominator. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 to throw away that denominator. And 2 times 87 is, that's 1600 plus 140. Is that 1740 equals? So the 2 knocks this out. This is just n. And then this is 3n plus 27. And here I am making sure that 2 times that is good, 1740. That's good. So let's see. So that's that. This 2 knocks this out. 3n is there. 15 plus 12 is 27. Why don't we distribute? So that's 1740 equals this here. Why don't we actually move this number to this side? So that 0 would equal 3n squared plus 27n minus 1740. So we have 3n squared plus 27n minus 1740 equals 0. Now the question is, how do I solve this equation? Look, this is a quadratic equation. If you want, you could use the quadratic formula, or you could try to factor and solve, or because this is an honors pre-calculus class, we can use tools like Desmos. So if you want, go to Desmos, type this in, maybe use x's instead. Maybe type this into Desmos and x's like that, and then see what it gives you for the value of x. And then if you click on here, remember Desmos gives you answers in the form of vertical lines. So the answers are either 20 or negative 29. Is either 20 or n is negative 29, but it cannot be this because n represents a number of objects, so it cannot be negative. So it's going to be 20. So n equals 20. So when they said how many rows must the architect make in this theater, the architect has to make 20 rows.